It's been a few days since we've talked about our favorite interstellar object, 3IATLAS, and yes, we've got some updates. Check out these new images that show 3IATLAS in a whole new light.
On the 9th day of November, the world was presented with two spectacular images that genuinely caught everyone off guard. The James Webb Telescope and the Virtual Telescope Project jointly unveiled the most recent photographs capturing the interstellar interloper designated as 3IATLAS. What these pictures disclosed left the scientific community utterly astonished. In these captured moments, the celestial body appeared merely as a sharp, intensely bright pinpoint of light, completely devoid of any semblance of a tail. No indication of material venting outwards, and absolutely no enveloping cloud of dust or gas. Nothing that one would logically anticipate accompanying an object shedding billions of tons of mass as it nears the sunday. However, the most profoundly unsettling aspect is this. It looks precisely identical to how it appeared back in July when the Hubble Space Telescope last documented it. For an entity that, based on established solar heating models, should have already expended more than 5 billion tons of its original mass, this complete lack of change in appearance constitutes a cosmic affront to every single recognized principle of cometary dynamics. To a segment of observers, this is merely a simple irregularity. Yet to others, it suggests something far more monumental. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb characterizes this as an essential alert from the universe beyond our world. If the visuals are accurately representing reality, a mass accelerating through our solar system without ejecting any visible matter, then 3IATLAS might not be a comet whatsoever. It could potentially be something constructed. The whole situation commenced when astronomical observers detected something quite unusual towards the end of October. As 3IATLAS approached the closest proximity to the Sun in its trajectory known as its perihelion, the object began to increase its velocity rather than slow down. This is fundamentally impossible under normal circumstances. According to data released by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, ATLAS deviated from its calculated orbital path by 4 arcseconds. While that is a modest angular measurement at the immense distance of 203 million kilometers, this translates to a physical displacement measured in the tens of thousands of kilometers. Something immensely powerful was visibly forcing it off its expected route. The resulting computations thoroughly perplexed the mission analysts. The object was accelerating outward, moving away from the solar body at a rate of 0.22 millimeters per second squared, while concurrently drifting laterally at nearly the identical speed, all within a single month. That movement constitutes a displacement exceeding 80 kilometers, an amount far too significant to be attributed to random statistical variations. A pressing question immediately circulated throughout every significant observatory, spanning from Hawaii all the way to Chile. What unseen influence was guiding this specific object? The typical explanation, material outgassing, simply did not account for the observed motion. To generate the level of thrust witnessed, ATLAS would have needed to expel at least 1/6 of its entire mass, an equivalent of 5 billion tons of vaporized gas, which would necessarily form a blinding luminous halo, visible even through modest terrestrial telescopes. Yet the night sky remained utterly clear. There was no visible shroud, no trailing structure, no indication of vapor, nothing at all. To illustrate just how nonsensical this situation appears, the Virtual Telescope Project released a direct side-by-side comparison, contrasting 3IATLAS with Comet Lemon. Comet Lemon is an entirely conventional comet that was photographed under nearly identical atmospheric conditions only a few days prior. Lemon performed exactly as theoretical models predicted, a brilliant ethereal tail streaming away from the sun, perfectly shaped by the impact of solar radiation. But ATLAS conversely remained stubbornly a pristine dot, sharp, tightly defined, and untarnished. It was akin to contrasting a living kinetic entity with a perfectly still stone sculpture. One emanates motion and inherent energy, while the other remains fixed and profoundly silent. For ATLAS to accelerate without producing any observable debris is comparable to observing a massive rocket achieving flight without any visible exhaust plume. The known laws of physics do not merely bend in this scenario, they fundamentally shatter. When Loeb ran the necessary simulations, he determined that if the observed acceleration were genuinely due to cometary processes, the escaping gases would have generated a luminosity significantly brighter than that of the full moon. Despite this prediction, the imagery recorded on the 5th of November shows absolutely no evidence of such an effect. The object's observed magnitude, its hue, and its consistent shape all remain unnervingly stable. The director of the virtual telescope, Gianluca Massi, described this observation as the most perplexing phenomenon he has ever personally documented. This is because even the instruments specifically calibrated to detect the faintest residues of cosmic dust returned a reading of absolute zero. Once the raw data reached Harvard University, Loeb and his dedicated team commenced the complex task of reverse engineering the physics underpinning this strange acceleration. Utilizing the conservatively estimated mass of Atlas, 33 billion tons, nearly 1 million times more massive than the object known as Oumuamua, they reached the definitive conclusion that no currently recognized natural mechanism could adequately explain the colossal force being exerted upon it. The pressure exerted by solar radiation was demonstrably too weak. Outgassing was visually absent. Gravitational influences from the major planets were ruled out due to the object's vast orbital separation. This left only one conceivable, albeit extraordinary possibility, an entirely unknown driving mechanism. We must confront what the collected data is explicitly telling us, Loeb stated. If the established physics fails to account for the results, then the underlying theory itself must be modified. However, very few individuals within the community were mentally prepared to accept the profound ramifications of this necessity. The underlying truth was simply too weighty to bear, because the numerical values gathered did not merely describe an irregular path, they implied deliberate action. The acceleration was not erratic or random. It was remarkably smooth, completely consistent, and perfectly oriented relative to the sun's location, as if an external agent or system had precisely calibrated its trajectory. The last time astronomers witnessed behavior even remotely similar to this was with Oumuamua, but in the current case, the observed effect is demonstrably stronger, faster, and appears far more purposeful. As detailed readings flowed in from numerous observatories across the planet, a distinct, undeniable pattern began to crystallize. 3IATLAS was not just violating a single celestial rule, it was systematically disregarding all of them. Its orbital plane exhibited near-perfect alignment with the ecliptic, the flat plane in which Earth and the other planets move, staying within 5 degrees of that central path. This degree of alignment is so statistically improbable that Loeb likened it to successfully hitting a cosmic bullseye target while operating completely in the dark. Then emerged the startling jet anomaly, a sudden intense burst of material that shot directly toward the sun, which is the exact antithesis of expected cometary behavior. Typically, solar radiation pushes any ejected dust particles away from the star, forming tails that invariably point outward. Yet Atlas actively defied even this fundamental principle, behaving as if it were actively repelling the sunlight itself. Its velocity presented another impossibility. It moves faster than smaller, less massive interstellar visitors like Oumuamua and Comet Borisov, even though its substantial mass should logically render it more sluggish. Furthermore, its observed brightening curve completely contradicted established logic. As it drew nearer to the sun, it intensified in brightness at a rate of -7, signifying an energy output twice as potent as any other known comet observed under similar circumstances. Then there was the striking color, a vivid, almost electric spectral blue. This was not the dull, icy white, or the familiar reddish hue associated with cometary activity. This blue glow suggested a temperature hotter than the sun's own visible surface, its photosphere. Its measured surface temperature appeared to surpass 5,800 Kelvin, an incredible feat that no known natural body could accomplish without immediately vaporizing into plasma. By this point, the scientific community wasn't merely perplexed, they were genuinely alarmed. If 3IATLAS is not adhering to the established rules of orbital mechanics, then it must be adhering to a different set of instructions, perhaps a command structure. Spectroscopic analysis conducted by the James Webb instrument, alongside data from numerous terrestrial observatories, uncovered something even more profoundly strange: the composition of the object. Unlike natural comets, which typically present a chaotic, haphazard mixture of rock-frozen volatiles and various minerals, ATLAS revealed a highly specific exact ratio of nickel to iron. This precise ratio is identical to the composition found in advanced engineered high-temperature metallic alloys, frequently utilized in sophisticated spacecraft and powerful jet propulsion systems. In natural geological processes, metals tend to blend randomly, but the metals within ATLAS were meticulously balanced, purified, and highly organized. Moreover, the object contained only 4% water content, rendering it drier than the most arid deserts found on our planet. This is far removed from the expected dirty snowball model. Instead, it suggests a fabricated structure, one that appears forged rather than frozen. Some researchers now strongly posit that the object's external surface layer might not be natural at all. It could potentially be composed of a remarkably durable ceramic or a high-performance composite material, meticulously engineered to be heat-resistant and perfectly polished, which would explain its exceptionally clean reflection of light without displaying any surface fissures or unevenness. That precise reflection generates an unprecedented signature in light polarization. The light waves emanating from it are aligned with a stunning mathematical regularity, a characteristic never before observed in any naturally occurring celestial body. As Avi Loeb noted succinctly, if one were tasked with designing an observational probe to successfully traverse a billion-year journey across the galaxy, it would manifest with physical characteristics exactly like this. And then came the revelation that managed to shock even the most entrenched scientific skeptics. When researchers meticulously mapped the trajectory of 3I-ATLAS, they observed that its path intersects the established orbital paths of Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, yet it conspicuously bypasses Earth's own orbit. Its timing was eerily perfect. During its perihelion passage, the moment when it should have been closest to our planet and most accessible for intense observation, it instead maneuvered itself precisely behind the Sun, effectively concealing itself from our sensitive instruments. This specific orbital alignment possesses such an astoundingly low probability that certain astrophysicists are now asserting that it cannot possibly be classified as a mere accident. This is not random movement, stated one analyst from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. This signifies deliberate navigation. The concept sounds utterly fantastic until one examines the accompanying mathematical verification. The orbital path is executed with such meticulous accuracy that if plotted backward through time, it directs our focus squarely toward the identical sector of the sky from which the famous WOW signal of 1977 originally originated, a powerful narrowband radio transmission that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence community has been attempting to trace for decades. Two distinct, highly anomalous phenomena separated by decades emanating from the exact same cosmic coordinates. Coincidence? Perhaps. But as the volume of mounting evidence increased, the word perhaps began to sound increasingly like a desperate form of scientific denial. Every subsequent image released by the Virtual Telescope project only served to deepen the profound enigma. 3I-ATLAS's signature coloration, that deep ultraviolet blue that no known comet is supposed to emit, defied every established thermal model scientists possessed. Blue light in astronomical terms signifies high temperature. Blue light denotes intense energy output, and yet the object showed zero signs of structural degradation, no fragmentation, and registered no corresponding thermal spike in the infrared spectrum. It was emitting light that was clearly not thermal energy at all. It appeared to be self-generated, akin to the radiation produced by highly controlled plasma or ionized gas streams. Certain specialists in plasma physics have hypothesized that the object might be employing some form of advanced electromagnetic propulsion, generating its directional thrust by actively manipulating the solar wind itself, a form of technology that human engineers have only managed to test on rudimentary experimental scales. Others lean toward a simpler explanation. This is the surviving remnant of a machine so unimaginably ancient and fully autonomous that it continues to execute its core programming based on programmed instinct long after its original creators have vanished. If this hypothesis holds true, then humanity is not just observing alien technology. We might be witnessing alien endurance, a mechanism still diligently pursuing its mission after countless eons spent traveling in complete silence. And so the timeline for a definitive answer has begun its ticking descent. On the 19th day of December 2025, 3IATLAS will execute its closest documented approach to Earth, passing within a distance of 167 million miles, close enough for every premier telescope from Hubble to Webb to capture it in observational detail never before thought possible. If it is indeed a comet, we should finally witness the colossal gaseous envelope that theoretical physics absolutely demands must be present. However, if no such envelope materializes, if Atlas maintains its appearance as the same quiet, intensely blue, perfectly compact entity it has always been, then the entire framework of cometary explanation will utterly fail. What remains in its place is something significantly more unsettling. Could it be a specialized probe, an autonomous surveyor methodically scanning our solar system as part of some ancient long-term experiment? Or is it something even more esoteric? Perhaps a device programmed to activate only once. Civilizations such as ours reach a specific nuclear capability threshold, a chilling possibility some speculative physicists are now voicing. For the present moment, no definitive answer exists. But every newly released image, every distinct spectral reading, every subtle controlled movement observed in the void points toward one singular conclusion: this object is actively observing us, and its purpose may still be unfolding. As the freshest images captured by the Virtual Telescope project propagate through every scientific laboratory, every major observatory, and every online discussion forum across the globe, one overriding sentiment hangs palpable in the atmosphere, heavier than mere scientific wonder: a deep, pervasive unease. The cosmos has just presented humanity with another impossible puzzle, and this time the solution appears to be actively gazing back at us. 3IATLAS continues its steady progress through the solar system, cold, vibrant, blue, and overwhelmingly silent, defying every fundamental equation that human science has relied upon for centuries. It refuses to behave like a typical comet. It does not visually resemble a simple asteroid. It utterly refuses to fit into any of the neat, organized categories that human ingenuity constructed to impose order upon the vastness of the night sky. It accelerates when logic dictates it must slow down. It burns blue when standard physics predicts a white glow. It strategically hides its mass when it should be shining brightest. It follows a trajectory that suggests intricate choreography far more than random celestial drift. And yet when the data streams in it arrives with crystalline, unnerving clarity, there is no extraneous noise, no measurable error margin. It is as if the universe itself is compelling us to perceive something we have spent centuries actively trying to ignore. The more detailed information we acquire, the less we manage to comprehend. Each fresh visual confirmation from the Virtual Telescope project only serves to deepen the central paradox, the same compact, intensely luminous point of light, exhibiting perfect structural stability, perfect calm, and perfect alien indifference. It is as if the immense energy of the sun itself is incapable of affecting it. It seems that the combined forces of radiation, gravity, and heat simply glide off its surface, much like light bouncing harmlessly off a highly reflective mirror. If its nature is purely natural, then this object forces us to rewrite our very definition of what natural even entails. If conversely it is demonstrably artificial, then humanity has just become privy to the most significant discovery in the entire recorded history of our species. Undeniable proof that we were neither the first nor the only intelligent entities to traverse the pathways between the stars. Either conclusion dictates that the universe we thought we possessed a working understanding of has already irrevocably changed. Because the core question is no longer whether this object is a comet. That question ceased to be relevant the very moment it sped up without exhibiting any visible material expulsion. The true critical question, The one that most people are hesitant to voice aloud is this. What caliber of intelligence conceives and builds something capable of traversing interstellar gulfs, spanning billions of years propelled by forces we cannot detect, navigated with a level of precision we cannot yet explain, and yet continues to function flawlessly across unimaginable stretches of deep time? What manner of civilization achieves such a technological pinnacle? How long ago did its builders flourish? Are they still presently active elsewhere in the cosmos? Or are we merely observing the drifting silent artifact of their distant memory? A ghost vessel sailing across the immense cosmic ocean, steadfastly repeating its ancient programmed mission, long after its creators have returned to stellar dust. Dr. Avi Loeb warned us many years ago that when the scientific community chooses to actively disregard verifiable anomalies, that pursuit of knowledge degrades into rigid dogma. We forfeit our claim as truth seekers, he asserted, if we only validate the findings that happen to make us feel intellectually comfortable. 3IATLAS represents that very discomfort. It serves as an undeniable reminder that the fundamental processes of the universe possess absolutely no obligation to conform neatly within the confines of our established theoretical frameworks. The sun does not need to request our permission before it ignites. The distant stars do not require our explicit approval to emit their light. And when an object enters our familiar skies that we cannot readily explain, our proper response is to intensely question, not simply to dismiss. So here we stand once again, gazing intently at another visitor, arriving from the profound darkness, and the profound silence surrounding it feels almost deliberately manufactured. Perhaps this is the authentic nature of first contact, not through the reception of organized radio signals or dramatic visual displays in the atmosphere, but through subtle, persistent defiance, through quiet, persistent impossibilities that forcefully compel us to re-examine our assumptions, to radically alter our thinking, and ultimately to evolve. Maybe that is the central lesson imparted by 3IATLAS, that the ultimate act of discovery is not about conquering the unknowns we encounter, but rather learning how to stand firmly before that vast unknown without yielding to fear. And now, as the 19th of December draws nearer, the day this object will pass closest to our home world, every functioning telescope on this planet will inevitably pivot toward it. Maybe then we will finally discern what it truly is. Maybe we will instead observe absolutely nothing conclusive at all. But whatever the outcome, this moment will be etched into human memory. The inaugural time in our history that a fragment of the deep cosmos looked directly back at us and consciously refused to offer any explanation. Because occasionally, the universe does not murmur its secrets softly. Sometimes it presents them in plain view and dares you to find the will to believe them. If this narrative has successfully prompted you to question what truly resides in the vast expanse beyond our planet, do not allow this vital story to dissolve into the general digital noise. Consider subscribing to this platform, because we are committed to tracking 3IATLAS until its light finally diminishes beyond our observational limits. Activate the notification bell so that the instant any new critical data becomes available, you will be among the very first to know. And please share your own hypotheses in the comments below. What precisely do you believe 3IATLAS fundamentally is? Is it merely a chunk of rock, a deliberate exploratory probe, or is it the first tangible communication from a civilization that mastered the art of speaking through absolute silence?